Hello and welcome to Week in Weird. My name is Gibby, where as I continue to lose weight and grow out my beard, my aesthetic has slowly changed from soy boy into homeless, rambling man. And yes, despite this being a red Solo cup, I am in fact still just drinking water. So I haven't done one of these videos in about 3 weeks, and that's not because nothing's happened, it's because of a combination of being extremely busy and not having power, which is not a great combination because you can't really get much done when you don't have power. Also, there's a hurricane coming, so that's gonna be great. So we got some news to catch up on, some news that a bunch of other people have already covered, like the world chess cheating scandal. There was already an amazing video about this by Critical, and I highly recommend that you watch that if you're interested in this topic, because I'm just going to go over the bare basics, although he hasn't really touched on the subject in a couple weeks, and there have been updates. So even if you know the story, stay tuned. There's been some new deals. So basically, the World Chess Tournament's going on right now, and you have the world-leading chess champion, Magnus Carlson, going up against a 19-year-old. It is a no-brainer that Magnus is gonna win. Magnus didn't win. Now you might think that the champion being unseated by a rookie would result in him going up and making a grand speech about how the future of the game was in good hands. But no, he quit the tournament on Twitter. I've withdrawn from the tournament. I've always enjoyed playing in the chess club and hope to be back in the future. And he also linked to a YouTube video in which this man's right here said, "If I speak, I'm in big trouble." That's in reference to him wanting to accuse his opponent of cheating, but you can't do that without evidence because that's libel. So I think it's quite clear by the link that he had in this tweet that he believed that his 19-year-old opponent was in fact cheating. Because how else could you lose? You're the chess grandmaster. You don't lose. That's impossible. To add on top of this, the 19-year-old, whose name is Neiman, was playing the black pieces in chess, whereas Carlson was playing the white pieces, and if you know anything about chess, you know that that's a big advantage because you get to go first. Now here's where the story goes viral, because somebody just upsetting the champion in chess isn't gonna necessarily rock the entire world for a news cycle. But what will rock the world for an entire news cycle is a humorous Reddit thread, apparently. Basically, we've reached the point where chess-playing computers are better than humans at chess. And so if you were to take a chess computer and have it go against the world champion master, especially in a live match like this, it's very likely that the computer would win. And so a very easy way to win in a chess tournament situation like this is to just have a computer make your moves for you, or at the very least have the computer make the important moves for you. But how do you sneak a computer into a chess tournament? With vibrating Bluetooth anal beads. That was at least the theory that Reddit came up with. There is a proof of concept. Somebody was able to make a computer and then have it vibrate in part of the sole of their shoe. I'm imagining it like tapping Morse code, telling them where to send the chess pieces. But theoretically, if there's something in your shoe, then it can be caught. But no one's going to do a cavity search at a chess tournament, so you can theoretically be more confident in your ability to get away with it if it's up your butt. The 19-year-old who won, Neiman, he said that he would prove he wasn't cheating by playing fully nude against Carlson, so obviously he's taking this very jovially, probably enjoying his time in the spotlight. The fact that he won, I mean, it's really cool. If he didn't cheat, then this is actually, it's really cool, and it sucks that it's mired in this controversy from this guy who just refuses to admit that he lost. 1 week later, another matchup between the same opponents, Magnus Carlson and Hans Neiman. They begin their match. Neiman makes his first move. Carlson then immediately forfeits the game and leaves. This game was actually played over the internet, so they each had webcams, and they were playing on like a chess-playing app, not a real board. So he makes his first move, and then he just leaves. The match took place virtually over Microsoft Teams, and on the online chess platform Chess24. Carlson turned his webcam on, made one move, resigned, then turned his camera off and disappeared. He did not say anything. That was on September 19th, but the story comes to a conclusion of sorts on September 27th, where Magnus Carlson has now explicitly accused Hans Neiman of cheating. I say that this is the end of the story probably because nothing's going to happen. I doubt that this kid's going to come forward and admit that he cheated, and I doubt that any sort of investigation will actually result in any sort of determination as to what happened. So for now, this is probably going to be where it stands, but we might as well read what Carlson said. Now, a little bit of important context. When Neiman was a lot younger, I think 12 or 13, he admitted to cheating on the website in question, Chess24. But I don't think he ever did it in a tournament that involved money or fame or prestige. He just did it in the game's online mode. So Carlson says, I believe that Neiman has cheated more, and more recently, than he has publicly admitted. His over-the-board progress has been unusual, and throughout our game in the Cinque Field Cup, I had the impression that he wasn't tense or even fully concentrating on the game in critical positions, while outplaying me as black in a way I think only a handful of players can do. For what it's worth, the Chess League, the International Chess Federation, actually sided against Carlson. They think that it was unsportsmanlike for him to resign against Neiman after one turn. They said in a statement, we strongly believe that there were better ways to handle this situation. And Neiman reiterates that he did cheat when he was 12 and 16 while playing online chess, but that he's never done it at an actual over-the-board, meaning an in-person tournament with an actual physical board. I'm saying my truth because I do not want any misrepresentation, said Neiman. I'm proud of myself that I have learned from that mistake, and now I have given everything to chess. I have sacrificed everything for chess. In a big twist at the end of this arc, Carlson went on to win the cup despite the fact that he forfeited to Neiman after the first turn. So I guess he lost that game and then went on to win the whole thing because he is in fact the chess world tournament. He just lost one game. He's the world tournament winner. He lost one game and threw a tantrum. Nerds, am I right? Speaking of being a nerd, so many years ago at this point, Nintendo revealed that they were releasing a sequel to Breath of the Wild, which has been the most successful Legend of Zelda game. You could say that I'm a big Zelda fan, but despite the fact that this game has been in production for longer than any other Zelda title in history, we haven't actually known its title. So Nintendo announced that they were going to have an online presentation where they talked about their upcoming games, and it was hinted that they were probably going to drop new information about this new Zelda title. And again, the big news was probably going to be just that, its title. But this online presentation was going to come a couple days after the passing of Queen Elizabeth. And so Nintendo said that they weren't going to broadcast it in the UK, despite the fact that it's online. So there was going to be an American version, there was going to be a European version, but there wasn't going to be a UK-specific version, even though in Nintendo terms, the UK falls under the Nintendo of Europe heading, which is actually based in Germany, but that's a whole other thing. Now, if you follow anything about video games, then you might know that the sequel to Breath of the Wild was in fact revealed in that presentation, and that its final title is Tears of the Kingdom. This led to the online speculation that the reason that the presentation was cancelled in the UK after Queen Elizabeth's passing is strictly because of the title of the Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom. Nintendo didn't want something trending on Twitter, they didn't want posters being hung up in 7-Elevens, they didn't want news headlines all about Tears of the Kingdom being associated with their branding. Moving on from that silly news, we have a very important story being reported by the Daily Mail. Pennsylvania man in rainbow wig working to restore Trump to President King of the United States arrested after bringing loaded handgun into Dairy Queen with 2 more in his car. That wins the award for best headline ever in the show. Jan Stalvoy is 61 and was arrested Saturday for walking into a Dairy Queen with a loaded handgun while wearing a bright yellow vest and a rainbow clown wig. Stalvoy said he was protecting himself from drug traffickers and intended to kill... I'm not gonna say that on YouTube. To unalive the Dems. He also said he wanted to restore Trump to President King of the United States. He's been charged with firearms not to be carried without a license, person not to possess, so I'm guessing he's had troubles in the past, terroristic threats, and disorderly conduct. I can see those two. He told investigators after the incident he was undercover and had the guns to protect himself. According to Facebook, this was not the first time he adorned the clown wig. A September 9th letter from Barron Run United Methodist Church said he attended church service in a clown costume and full makeup. His appearance frightened other attendees, and he once again became argumentative and belligerent, leading to the church banning him from the property. Okay, so now we actually get a picture. This is the letter that the church sent him. We've become increasingly concerned about your behavior over the course of the past month. We were willing to overlook your outbursts during the church service and forgive your inappropriate comments on Sunday, August 28th, 2022. We allowed you to attend the service last Sunday, September 4th, 2022, because you had promised there would not be any more outbursts. Your clown costume and full makeup frightened many of our congregants. We cannot allow you to return to church dressed in costume again. While you remained silent during the service, your constant gesturing was very distracting to all in attendance. You ignored that vow of silence during Sunday school, and once again became argumentative and belligerent. Your behavior following the service could only be seen as threatening, as it is with a heavy heart that we must ban you from the property of the Barron Run UMC from this point going forward. And as you can see, he then took a red marker to it and wrote, "Second love letters, praise the Lord, heart, 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 cross, cross, cross." What a lovely fella. Speaking of idiots, the FDA is now warning people not to cook their chicken in NyQuil because TikTok told them to. I don't know what's wrong with people my age and slightly younger, from eating Tide Pods, which actually happened, even though it's become such a meme, I think people forget that it was actually happening, to now cooking chicken in NyQuil. Also the cinnamon challenge, that was only 12 years ago? Boiling a medication can make it much more concentrated and change its properties in other ways, the FDA warned. Even if you don't eat the chicken, inhaling the medication's vapors while cooking could cause high levels of the drugs to enter your body. It could also hurt your lungs. The original TikTok that went viral was supposedly a joke. It was based on this 2017 tweet. Tristan says, "If she makes you NyQuil chicken, do not let her go." Tristan was contacted by NPR and he said, "I've seen it on TikTok, which is a bit more concerning because the audience of my original tweet, which I do think started it all, is notably older. There is something to be said about the concern that the children over on TikTok might not treat this with as much caution." Hey, they mentioned the Tide Pod and Cinnamon Challenge too. They stole my idea before I said it. In our final story out of Clown World, which could be an alternative title for this show, in the fighting game Multiverses, they had to change Velma's moveset, Velma from ScoobyDoo, because it was racist. ScoobyDoo's Velma is stripped of police-calling powers in video game after some brand her a Karen. Her ability to call police on black characters, such as basketball star LeBron James, didn't sit right with everyone. So as a reference to what they would do in the show where they would catch the bad guy and then the police would take them away, she shows a wanted poster of her opponent, the police car appears, it then drives over and hits the opponent and it does damage to them. Because being a professional journalist now is apparently just finding 3 tweets that agree with your agenda, this NBC article then outlines some people on Twitter who were very upset with Velma being racist. "I am enjoying Velma in Multiverses, but maining a character whose special move is calling the police on her enemies definitely doesn't sit right with me as a black man, lol." So they changed it so now she calls the mystery machine on the opponent and it runs them over. Which I guess is implying that Fred is a bad driver and is intentionally now hitting black people with his car. I don't know if that's any better. Although at the very least NBC does show the counter-narrative. One Twitter user, the person doesn't even get their name shown, says, "I'm sick of the whole Velma is a Karen narrative that has come out of Multiverses. Velma actually does her research and collects evidence before calling the cops on her opponents. She's clearly not a Karen." And with that, we're going to end this episode of Week in Weird. I apologize for making you guys wait so long for it, but I promise that there will be multiple videos coming out this week that might make up for it. Thank you for watching, and if you are in the path of the oncoming hurricane, please be safe. Every time there's a big storm like this, there's always some news story that comes out about someone who wanted to surf on a big wave or something stupid like that. Their car got lost in a flood while they went out to get donuts. So let's all try to be a little less stupid.